Alright guys, as a reminder, next Monday we will not be here. I mean, you could be here, but I won't be, and the rest of the class probably won't be. So, we won't have class April 9, Monday. And I'll remind y'all again as we get closer to the day, because I don't want anybody showing up unnecessarily. So what we're going to do today is kind of going to revisit the idea of functions, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to play with the turtles some more. And we're going to use the turtles to draw some circles. And then you can use the circles, the functions that we use, to go ahead and draw a smiley face or something like that. So go ahead and load up idle. And our goal is to be able to draw something like that. Yeah. Any color you want, whatever. Could be frowning rather than smiling. And you could have 4 eyes rather than 2, whatever you want. But let's get started. What are we going to need to have in order to be able to draw something like that? Well, we're going to need a circle function. And the turtles themselves come with a circle drawing command, so that's not going to be too hard to write. But we're also going to need a way to position the turtle. We're going to need to say, okay, go to these coordinates and then start your turtle. Start your circle. And then go to these coordinates and start your circle. Because otherwise, we're going to be sitting there, it's going to be like an Etch-a-Sketch. Leave a line everywhere. Okay, go over here, draw a circle, go over here, draw a circle, go over here. And so there's a couple of things that we need to know. One is that there is a positioning command that we can give the turtle. That'll just tell him to go somewhere else. But he's going to draw a line to whatever coordinates we get. Something else we're going to need is that there's a pin up, a lift pin, and a pin down command. So you can lift the pin, move the turtle, put it back down, and then we'll be ready to draw something. So let's do an import turtle up at the top so we get our goodies. Let's create our turtle. I'm just going to call him T so it's short to type. T is equal to turtle with a capital T. The rest of it's lowercase, but this T right here is caps. And then we're just going to hide the turtle. We don't actually need to see him himself as he's drawing. I'm going to make sure that that's a valid command. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Google and type Python 3 turtle, and it'll show me some instructions. Here's the turtle graphics. If I want to see how to hide it, I type in Control F to find, and I type in hide, and it shows me that there's hide turtle and then there's show turtle. And if you want to check to see if the turtle is visible or not, you can call is visible. Okay, so we want to hide the turtle. So t.hide turtle. Let's test this out, just making sure it works before we go any further. So t.forward or t.fd, an abbreviation for forward. I'm going to go forward 10 pixels. I just want to make sure that everything we've done so far is actually going to run. So I did Control S for save, or actually I just ran it and it offered me to save it. Run module. Save it in your favorite place. Just call this face.py. Never call one of your functions, your modules, turtle, because that'll mess up all turtle graphics from here on if you call it turtle.py. Bitter experience. I've done it. Okay, so it did draw something. It drew a very short line because that's what I told it to do, right there. Well, let's test out our commands and make sure we remember how to draw a circle. T.circle, let's make a circle that's 100 pixels wide. Now we're probably going to delete some of these lines when we're done. I should have made that line bigger than 10 because it's just showing up as a little dot down there. So I'm going to make that t dot forward 100 rather than t dot forward 10, just so I can see it drawing something. All right, that's better. What if we wanted that line to be hidden? We just wanted to move the turtle, but we didn't want to see it drawing it. Let's hide the turtle and then move him. So t dot pin up, P-E-N, not P-I-N, up. Pin up means lift the pin, no longer draw. And let's get him to go somewhere else. Maybe forward another 100 pixels. And then let's put the pin back down, t dot pin down. Parentheses and parentheses. Now let's test it out by drawing another circle. Radius 100. Why not? Okay. So what are we doing here? At this point, we're lifting the pin so that we're no longer drawing a line. And on this pin down, we're lowering the pin so that we're drawing a line again. Because you get the idea. Pin was a mechanical device. Excuse me, the turtle was a mechanical device and it was carrying a pin around back when these were originally invented before programming languages. Alright, so it moved a little bit and then it lifted the pin, went forward 100, it put the pin back down and it drew another circle. So this was like an etch sketch where it had to leave the line behind it as it moved. But then this lifted the pin so that when we move from there to there, and that's more like what we want. Because we want to be able to draw circles but not have them all connected by lines. So that's well and good, but we also want to be able to lift the pin and move to a new place and lower the pin. So let's try that, and then we're going to actually start working on our functions. So I'm going to lift the pin, pin up, and I'm going to relocate. And the way we do that is with set X and set Y, just like on a good old sheet of graphing paper like we used in trigonometry. You set its X position and you set its Y position. So I'm going to set its X, set X to negative 100 because X is way on the other side of the screen. We've been going, forward each time, but now we're going to, if this is 0, 0, we're going to go to a coordinate of negative 100. And let's do the same with the Y. T dot set Y negative 100, so that, if this is the center of the screen, 0, 0, he's going to go back to negative 100, he's going to go down to negative 100, so he's going to be down here somewhere in that quadrant. And let's put the pin back down so that we can draw something and show where we are. So t dot pin up, set X, negative 100, set Y, negative 100, pin down. And let's draw one more circle. Maybe an itty bitty one, 50. So it draws our first two circles and then it relocates down to here. You know what, if we didn't hide the turtle, it might be more fun to watch. So I'm going to come up here and comment out the hide turtle. It's just fun to have it on the screen as it's drawing. Alright, I like it. So in order to draw, what do we need? We need the ability to say something like, go here, and draw a circle. Go here and draw a circle. And if we want to get all fancy, draw a little circle there and draw a little circle there. And then go here and draw a circle here, here, here. So we're going to need some kind of go-to command. A relocate command. So that we can say go to, 100, 50. And the turtle will lift its pin run over to 100, 50, and then put its pin back down and be ready for the next command. So that's a function we're going to write there. Let's do that. We've almost got the code ready for that right here. So I'm going to take this code, these 4 lines here, and tab them over and give this a function name. Like this. I'm going to highlight those 4 lines. I use the shift down arrow, or you can use your pen, excuse me, your mouse, and then hit the tab. That pushes them all over at one time. And then DEF go to, that's the name of our function. And I'm sorry, all of a sudden I started using the term function rather than module like we have been in the past. That's the name of our module. And there we go. Why X and Y? Because we want to be able to set its X position and its Y position. So you see those negative 100s? We need to make those variables instead. A variable up in the definition of a function of a module is called a parameter. So where we have set X, we're going to set that to the X parameter. And where we have set Y, we're going to set that to the Y parameter. And if we wanted to, we could stick a return statement there. Not necessary in this language. And remember, in pseudocode, we would have untabbed it. Don't like the difference, but so I'm just going to delete the word return, I think. Nah, I'll leave it there. Okay. So now let's test out our goTo function. And if you just came in, let me print this out for you so that who needs a copy of it because you came in late? I'll print out 2 copies. You can come grab it from the printer if you want. All right, let's test out our goTo function. I should have tested it before I printed it, eh? goTo, I don't know, 50, negative 50, and draw a little bitty circle. T dot circle, 25, like that. And let's go to a different position. All we're doing is testing it. We're not really drawing anything. Negative 50, 50. T dot circle 25. And then go to 50, negative 50. T dot circle. Here's about the time that I wish I'd started copying and pasting. So far I have 3 goTo statements. And then the last one, I'm going to go to negative 50, negative 50, and draw a circle. T dot circle 25. So if you remember your coordinates, 50, 50 is going to be up in this corner. Negative 50, 50 is going to be up in this corner. 50, negative 50 is going to be down in this corner. And negative 50, negative 50 is going to be in that corner. Let's see if it works. All right, it's doing all that earlier rigmarole. And there we go. It drew our 4. Assuming that this is 0, 0, that was at 50, 50, that was at negative 50, 50. This was at negative 50, negative 50. And this was at 50, negative 50. Anyway, you get the idea. So we have a good function so far. The rest of it was just test code. But that goTo is worth saving. I'm going to copy it, and maybe I'm going to delete the rest of this stuff. We don't really need this stuff up here. I could comment it out. There's an easy way to comment code out using the menus, which just means putting a hash, pound sign in front of each one. I think I'll do that. So everything above our goTo statement, up to but not including where we make the turtle. See where we say turtle is equal to turtle dot, or t is equal to turtle dot turtle. I want everything under that down to but not including the goTo statement commented out or deleted. Your choice. You just highlight it all and hit the backspace to delete it. Or if you want to comment it out, you highlight it all and click Format, comment out region. And there, it's commented out, meaning that it's no longer part of the program. But we could go back and refer to it if we wanted to. Your choice. Want to delete it? That's cool. Maybe I'll delete it. Too much commented code makes it look sloppy. So I'm just going to highlight all that stuff and delete it. But you can leave it there. It did show some cool stuff. Not that much. It showed hide turtle. We already know pin up and pin down now. Alrighty. So what would be nice is if we could combine these two calls into a single function. What do I mean by that? I might just want to be able to say circle, parentheses, 100, comma 10, and then give the radius, comma 50. And it would go to 100, comma 10, and it would draw a circle of 50. That way I could draw a whole bunch of circles just with one command rather than having to give two commands each time. So we're going to make a draw circle function. I don't think that I want all this stuff here anymore. It showed how to use the circle function, but I don't really think I want it. I could highlight it all and comment it out, or I can just delete it. I'm going to just delete it. Everything underneath the goto function I'm going to get rid of. It was just there to test. You're allowed to write stuff that you test and then get rid of it when you're sure that your function works. Okay, so I want to write a draw circle function, or maybe just abbreviate to draw circ, I don't know. Something easy to type, right? And it's going to take a couple of parameters. And just blue sky, and also because I've done this before, I want it to have an X location, a Y location, a radius location, and a color, so that I can specify the color of the circle. Alright guys, if you just walk it in, fortunately for you, we've deleted almost everything we've typed, so there's not much to catch up on.
I'll watch the video.
Alright, you're going to watch the video? That's cool.
It's pretty easy to catch up if you watch the video.
Alright, that's cool. Okay, so here we go. What do we want to do first? Although we haven't talked about it before, I want the heading to always be the same. And why is that? Because if I draw a circle and the heading is due east, it's going to go like this, and then it's going to draw a circle here. But if I was going south, it might draw the circle that way, right? Well, that's kind of funny looking. But you get it? It always draws circles by veering off to the left. So I want the circle to start drawing with me going the same direction every time so that the circle is always oriented in the same place. That looks a little bit too weird, so I'm deleting that. So I'm going to set the heading. T dot set heading, and I bet we could abbreviate that SH. And which way am I going to set it? Oh, what did I do the last time I did this? Probably to 0. Because in turtle land, 0 degrees is not due north, it's due east. That's why when we first started drawing, everything was going off to the east. So T dot setting 0. I'm going to just put a comment that's east. And as long as we set the heading to the same way every time, that'd be okay. It didn't have to be 0. I just always want it to be the same way before it draws a circle, so to be consistent. So the first thing I want to do after I've set the heading, and I could do it before I've set the heading, it doesn't really matter, is go to my new location. I'm specifying an X and a Y position to go to. So T dot go to, excuse me, I typed that pretty miserably. T dot go to the X and the Y values that are specified in these parameters. See, we have 4 parameters being passed to this function now. Why? Because eventually I want to be able to call it like this. Don't type this yet. I want to be able to say draw a circle at position 100, comma 50, and I want the circle to have a radius of 20, and I want it to be red. Something like that. That's what I want to be able to do. I'm going to delete that. So we've gone to the right location. Now we need to actually draw the circle. But let's set the color first so that, it'll be a red circle or whatever. And if you remember, we had a fill command. Begin fill and end fill. I'm going to leave that off first and then we're going to add it. But we do need to set the color. So T dot color, and this is going to look silly. Color, comma, color. T dot color, color dot, color, comma, color. Sounds like a color, chameleon, Boy George song. Okay, so what does this mean? If we pass in red, it's going to set a pin color of red and a fill color of red. Maybe we'll want to change it so that we could specify those separately, so that we could say, red, comma, blue, and then the pin color would be red, and then the fill color would be blue. Maybe I shouldn't have called the variable color, but that was too obvious. So I'm sorry that looks weird, but let's just run with it. And the reason that works is because the color function will accept either one parameter or two parameters. If you pass in one, it only sets the pin color. But if you set two, it'll also set the fill color. But we're going to actually have to start and stop the fill. But I'm going to skip that at the very beginning. And then we're going to go back and add it. So now that we've got our color, we've got our position, we could put some comments. That's go-to command sets our position. And this sets our color. Pretty obvious, huh? That is so obvious, I'm deleting that comment. Alrighty, and then let's draw the circle. T dot circle. And what's the size of the circle? Well, which parameter do we want to use to fill in the circle? Yeah, we're going to use the one we said was radius, right there. Like that. And then let's return. Now if I compile it and run it, it's not going to draw a dang thing. Yeah, it left the turtle on the screen and didn't draw anything. Why is that? I sure do have a bunch of code. Why didn't it draw anything?
You didn't call it a function?
Yeah, I never called the function. So let's call good old draw Cirque. Draw Cirque, and I want it to be at right in the middle of the screen. So 0, 0 with a radius of 100, and I want it to be orange. Their orange, by the way, looks horrible, but not as bad as their tan does. All right, so we've got it working, but it's not filling it. We need to go modify our circle function to begin the fill and to end the fill. And you have to do the begin fill right before T dot circle, and you have to do the end fill right after T dot circle. So where am I going to make my changes? I'm going to make my change here before T dot circle. That's going to be where we begin the fill. And I'm going to end my fill after T dot circle. Alrighty, so before the T dot circle call, it's going to be T dot begin underscore fill. I'm not sure why some of them have underscores in them and some don't. I guess the guys who invented the turtle commands started having disagreements, or maybe another guy took over the project. Like set heading and pin down. These don't have underscores, but begin fill does. Okay, so we begin the fill before the call to T dot circle, and then we T dot end underscore fill after the call to T dot circle. And let's see if this creates a filled in circle now. Yeah, there we go. All right, if we were going to draw a circle, excuse me, a face, we'd have to kind of figure out where the coordinates were going to be. But first I need to wander around and make sure everybody's got this right. Anybody got typos? T, that T is equal to turtle, not turtle.
Oh.
Yeah, we need, yeah, don't comment that out. So uncomment region. Yeah, that's cool. Plus, call T dot infill after T dot circle. So one more line down, after that, yep. It's just, plus, doing okay? All right. Yes, sir. Tab over return. Because in the language itself, we have to tab return, but in the pseudocode, we don't. I don't like the inconsistency, but okay. So let's go and look. Looks like maybe we've got a comma there. So let's go and make it turtle dot turtle. Cool deal. All right, so we want to draw something like a face. So what am I going to do? I'm going to see if I can find a graph paper. And I want it to have kind of an XY look to it, like that. I'm going to open that up. Google sure has made their image search a little bit more difficult to use, but after you find the image you want, if you right click on it and do open image in tab, at least if you're using Chrome, then you kind of get it. Okay, so if I look at it, I wish I could draw on this, but I'm going to make my face go like that. So I'm going to pretend that these are all 10s. Not that you can see these numbers, but like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So if I started here, it's going to go out like that, and it's going to go out like that, and it's going to go out like that. What would we need to do if we wanted the circle to be zeroed in, like a target on 0, 0? How would we move that circle down so that it would be zeroed in right there? Because right now, you know, it's got a position of 0, 5. And this is too much trig, sorry. But this first number is its x position. And the second number is its y position. So that's where its center is. And that's because I started it as 0, 0. So when I did draw a circle, I said 0, 0. And then I set some colors, you know, the radius or whatever, 0, 0, 10. How would I get it so that it was like that? How would I move it down?
0, minus 5.
Yeah. Because then it would come down here. And it would draw like that. I think that would do it. We could play with it. Yeah, let's play with that. But one thing I want to do is have an itty-bitty little circle right in the middle, just so that I can make sure that our theory is correct. So I'm going to go back to idle. And instead of draw circ 0, 0, 100, that's a way big circle, I'm going to make it very small, like a radius of 2, just so it's a dot. But let's try drawing a big circle now. We said 0, -5. I think it's actually going to be 10 if I make the circle have a radius of 10. And we said multiply everything by 10, so anyways. So negative 50 and then 100. Why is that? Because if we use those 1, 2, 3, 4s, and 5s, the circle's going to be microscopic. I want to see if this is well, I know that's not going to work. Let's give it a shot and see what's going on. I think that I went the wrong way when I drew the circle, and it blew up. Why? Because I typed draw a circle rather than, no? I forgot to specify the color. I passed in the wrong number of parameters. This guy took 4 parameters, and that was correct, but I forgot to specify the color. So, I'm going to make this one a red one. And one problem with that, is going to be that it's going to erase the other circle. We're not going to be able to see that dot anymore, but we'll get the idea. All right, so I should have lowered it by, when I was giving those coordinates up there, I wasn't quite right. So I'm going to make it negative 100. And in retrospect, that makes sense because if it's got a radius of 100, then if that's 100 there, from there to there, then when I want to move the radius down here, that should also be, minus 100. So I'm going to erase this first one because I'm going to, well, I should run it before I start getting all proud of myself. All right, good enough. It's leaving lines behind it. I think I forgot to do something. Interesting.
In the draw circle function, is the t dot go to is not the same as your go to function. You just need to erase the t dot.
Oh, you're right. You're right. So what's going wrong here is that the circle command, the circle itself also has a dot go to. And so I'm calling its function rather than my own. Which means that we could probably fix this one by using t.goto, but importantly, we need to remove the t dot here. So I'm going to make a big comment here because that's the line that we changed right there. Remove the dot t. I'm glad you spotted that. I was pretty puzzled. That's not one of those mistakes that I make intentionally to illustrate a point. That was just a goof mistake on my point. All righty. Looking good to me. I wish that if I lifted the screen and projected the graph on it, it would actually be visible to you. It's going to have a lot of glare. But maybe just for a moment, it'll be okay. Looks great from this angle. For y'all though, I'm not so sure. But anyways, what we did is we went down to negative 10, and then we drew a circle of, that's bugging me. I think it's because, well, let's just roll with it. So we went down to 10, and then we drew a circle that looked like that. Now I want to put something for its eyes. And this isn't large enough, is it? But maybe an eyeball here at negative 40 or something, and then an eyeball here at positive 40. Something like that. And it may be one for its mouth. It's going to look like Jack Skellington or something. Down here at negative 8, like that. Then I can move them around, make them smaller, make them larger, something like that. So this is at 40, 20. We never wrote it so that it actually marks the middle of it. And that's why this calculation was wrong when we went with -5. It actually shows the bottom part. We would have to rewrite the circle function in order to get it so that we're specifying the center rather than the edge of it. So let's say at 40, 20 is going to be one of our i's, which means that -40, 20 is going to be the other I. Why did I type 40, 0? And these look like I kind of estimated them as being a width of 10. And then the mouth, lastly, was down here at -8, 0, -8. So -80, same radius. So those are the coordinates we're going to go to draw our first 3 circles. All right, so I don't really want that -100, 100. No, that one was okay. But smiley faces are usually yellow for some reason, so I'm going to change that red to yellow. Whatever. And I'm leaving this one here just because I want, that little dot there to begin showing. All right, so 40, 20. Draw circ 40, 20 with a radius of 10. And I want the eye to be black. So that's the right eye. And then draw circ -40, 20 with a radius of 10, comma. I'm going to be weird and give him one black eye and one blue eye. Sounds violent. Alrighty. And then left eye. And then for the mouth, it's going to be those third coordinates. The mouth is centered, so 0. But we want it down in the bottom, so draw circ 0, comma, -80. Same radius, 10. But mouths are usually red. And you certainly don't have to do this, but I'm going to take a little bit of time to space my numbers out in nice little columns. This is useless frippery. There, like that. I don't know if that made it easier to read or hard. Okay. I think if we hid the turtle, it wouldn't be a bad idea because it leaves him with that little mark down there. So maybe our very last command should be to hide the turtle. So at the very bottom, T dot, hide turtle. So distinguishing between the turtle functions and our functions, the ones that come with the turtle library are all preceded by T dot, while ours, sorry about the first letter being cut off, while ours are not preceded by the T dots. And what is T? I'm going to scroll back down. That's the name of our turtle. If we wanted to call it Ted, don't do this. I would have to change all those T dots to Ted dot. Right? If I wanted to call it, Bob, I would change all the T dots or the Ted dots. And like I said, don't do this because I'm going to undo it real fast. Like that. Right? So that's just the name of the turtle. And the way we give the turtle commands that use the turtle library is we prefix it with the name of the turtle variable itself. But our commands, we don't put the name of the turtle itself. And that was my mistake here, is I had put T.goto. So it was calling the turtle's goto function, which was not lifting the pin and setting it back down. All right, undo all those Bobs and Teds and stuff, and we'll be good to go. All right, so I hope that idea is clear. The idea of writing our own functions, because if we didn't have these functions, Look how much it took to draw a single circle. I wouldn't want to have to do all that 5 or 6 times in a row, you know. Copy and paste that 5 or 6 times in a row where the only difference was, you know, the X and the Y position and the color. Is there anything I'd like to do to this before I continue? It might be nice to be able to specify the outline. I don't want to get too silly with this. Or we could just assume that we want a black outline, and let's leave it like that. Let's not mess with it too much. Okay, so that's our turtle program. I'm going to save it once more, and then if we type anything else, it's probably going to go into new programs, just so that we leave this one. Excuse me, I called it turtle. That would be the absolute worst thing to save as. We would instead want to call it as face.py. All right, anybody got typos that they want? Oh, right here. Let me scroll down because I know that the stuff that we need help on is down here.